And we're off. Hello, Kristine.
Races.
That's right. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun.
Hi.
This is our theme song. We have not been on for a while.
We haven't.
I know. I was
It's been
traveling with my
yes.
husband, and that was so nice. Um, but now we're back, and then you're off to the races doing your own traveling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time we have to do that
And
sometimes, right?
we do. We need to take some time to ourselves, with our partners, with our friends. Yeah, it's really important. But while I was away, you have been busy scratching away on your notepad
Mm-hmm.
on something very important and very exciting for us because we have a new book coming out that Kristine has been writing, and it is phenomenal. And I just want to know what for you was the reason of making this book.
It's so interesting when you ask the question because I almost get teary eyed with I'm
Yeah.
like I get
Yeah.
like emotional thinking about it. Um, I think it's so much because so much parenting is so hard and it doesn't have to be. Um, I think we make it harder than it needs to be. We struggle more than we need to. We hold on to distortions and lies about ourselves and our children that do not serve us or our home. That the truth of who we are as parents, as women, as moms is extraordinary. And when we can find the essence of that, what we offer ourselves and our children and our family and our partners and our communities is exceptional. Um, for me, you know this to be true. Not everybody knows this to be true, but I like very simple things to follow. Otherwise, I get really overwhelmed. And when I get overwhelmed, I don't operate really well. And a lot of what we're writing here are shorter tools and shorter pathways back to the truth, I think. And we do them in shorter ways so that people can actually put them into motion and practice. Um, and I think I get emotional because my heart hurts when I think about the moms and kids who struggle too much. They don't need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the time we're hearing parents that are constantly in a struggle, right? And they feel like they're disconnected from their kids. And I know from experience, like that is a very painful place to be. And I think what you're saying is like what you've developed in this book is so beautifully simple, not just to follow, but to live with, and it really is. It's comes down to four basic needs that everybody needs, including us as adults, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're wired into us. They're four core emotional relational needs because we are relational beings.
absolutely.
Everything we do is about relationship. Everything. And I really think the more we can come back to the truth of that reality of everything that I want is about relationship, is about connection, everything. When you hold that in your awareness as the truth, yeah, I think you experience life and each other very differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Separation right now is what's destroying people. It's what creates isolation and confusion and loneliness, and it's rampant. And it's
mm-hmm.
not what we were born for, and it's not where we find our healthiest selves is not in disconnection and isolation, it's in connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that like I'm very passionate about in this company with you is making sure that parents don't have to feel alone, because I know there's so many families that are struggling in silence because there's a shame that keeps everything like we can't show those parts of ourselves to the world because then we will be labeled as a bad parent, and that is a very painful place to live. And what I really want people to know, parents to know, is like kids aren't experiencing what our intentions are as parents. They're just experiencing what our nervous system has learned. And if we can become aware of that, then everything can shift. And it's really actually very simple.
I was chatting with a friend over this weekend, and she's not a mom. She's been married 35 years very happily, but they chose consciously not to have children. And so our conversations are always so interesting, right? Because she brings a different flavor and a different perspective, and I bring a different flavor and perspective to her as well. And one of the things that we were talking about is it's so hard to know what the truth is. So even as we're like, with a lot of us parents, we can have shame. Like, I don't want anybody out there even knowing what's going on, whether I'm getting it right or I'm getting it wrong or what I'm doing. Or a lot of it is self-shame because we don't even know how to name what it is that we're actually feeling, wanting, needing, and desiring either. Mm-hmm. We don't know how to put words to it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And this book gives you the tools to do that.
Yeah, because I think that as a mom, and I'll just speak as a mom, right? As a parent, but as a mom, it's like I should know how to do all of this stuff for my children, for myself. But I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So then what do I do?
Yeah. We have a tendency to shit all over ourselves.
We do.
Yeah.
And not consciously, but we do. That's our habit. And then we perform. We get into performing parenting. We turn into fixers who might want to just fix the way things are going. Or we may be a withdrawer, like, figure it out on your own. Just do it your own. We fall into 4 different categories in our parenting also, because we step into an identity as opposed to ourselves. You had said something earlier about, the good parenting is not about the right answers, having the right answers, right? And I think when we're looking for the right answers, we step into identities, we step into roles, we step into becoming something again. Especially as women, I think we have been trained and conditioned to become more of what's expected. And then as we become moms, we become, and we look for the answers on how to become more. And the reality is good parenting is not in the answers, it's in the awareness. And there's a very big difference, which I'm hoping this book really speaks more to for people to understand.
I think it does. Absolutely, I think it does. It's not done yet, but it's a work in progress. Getting there, right?
Well, and I'm learning even along the way with this book, like so much of what we talk about is like the nervous system doesn't like big changes, it likes shifts. The patterns and repetition and habits that we have, in order to change them, it's better in shifts because then it stays. Writing this book, I'm like, okay, good. Yeah, no. So it just goes to the editor. What did she have? Like 1,350 comments, and I was like,
woo, take that in.
Slow it down. Like, everything, right? That patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And coming back to the awareness, just being aware that that's how your specific nervous system works is like, you specifically need very, very small little increments, right? In order to stay focused. And if there's too much, you go into overwhelm and you freeze, right? And we all have our patterns that we do, every single one of us. And most parents are out there looking for something, for better discipline strategies or better scripts or better consequences. And we're not looking that the problem is not the behavior, that it's actually the awareness that we don't have with our nervous system and how it's operating. And the same with our kids and their nervous system and how that's operating.
Yeah. And I'm aware too, you and I talk about this, how there's a lot of people who want to look at different parenting strategies and then compare the 2, 3, 4, 5, and then look for what's wrong with each one and why this one's better and that one's worse and how this one's creating that and I'm like, just stop it. We've been doing it for so long. This shame and blame and right and wrong, we've been doing it for so long. And what we know to be true is it doesn't work. It's still not working. So part of what this book is about is honestly not about going and finding another theory or discipline on parenting. It's coming back to the truth of who we are as parents by nature and listening to that and operating from that perspective. Which is a totally different concept and can sound a little woo-woo, but it's not. It's actually just more of the truth and reality of who we are and what we're asking of ourselves and each other and our community of parents is to start telling the truth. Get out of your automatic thoughts. Get out of not questioning or inquiring, why do I do what I do, feel what I feel? Why do I keep repeating the same things that I'm repeating that aren't working? What's underneath that? What do I want to feel more of? Who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? And designing the home that you want and not carrying forward into your home either a lot of the pains or rejections or shutdowns or unconsciousness from your past and what you learned and bringing into your specific home today, the home that you want to create.
Right.
But how do you do that?
Right. Well, I think the biggest tool that I have developed in my parenting is that curiosity of asking those questions, right? Curiosity is the most brilliant tool that you can have. If you start asking questions and answering them and taking the time with them, you will come to conclusions. You will come to your own answers. And that's how we start to figure out what works for us and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And what works for Kim does not work for Chris.
1000%. Or the personalities of your children, or the personality of my children,
Right.
or your husband's personality, or the changings of your home, your community, your economics. Like, with all those moving pieces and parts, if you try to apply one way to do it based on shoulds or shouldn'ts, you're gonna feel like poop. But if you instead apply the essence of being in a place of awareness, operating from the core of who we are and what our core needs, relational needs are, then you meet the moment and the shifts and changes happening around you within you very differently than what you've been taught to do.
Yeah.
While you're away, you didn't hear this, so I'll share with you a little scenario, and this is why I want to share more of what this is with people, right? So I have a 16-year-old son, and his behavior recently has been interesting, and I have felt very disconnected from him. And he was away for 2 weeks at a camp, and during that time, most people know our family dog passed away. And I'm divorced, so his father had picked him up from camp and he spent time with his dad's. And I'm like, hi, you coming home? Yeah, I'll be tomorrow. I'm like, okay. Hi, it's tomorrow. You coming over? Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. Okay. And we're pretty flexible. We co-parent really well, and predominantly it's meeting what is the best needs for our kids and ourselves too, but we communicate a lot about it. So my son was just getting like more and more distant, and it was a last Friday evening. I'm like, I really want you to be here, and I want to spend some time with you, and I want to watch a movie. And he was like, okay. But then it was like, something's happening. What's happening? And we started to do this. I found myself being like, I started getting this, like, and I'm speaking to him from like this, and he's just like, hey, so I'm going to go. Because I don't know what that is. And as he did that, I'm like, there's a part of me, Ken, that was like, ugh. But I paused and I took a breath and I'm like, you should probably go. Because there's something here, you know? And when I sat with it, I'm like, why do I want to kill this child right now? When that is not usually how I feel. And I was just like, whoa. Because I'm feeling really lonely. I'm sad. You know, I want him to be okay. I want me to be okay. There's been a big shift because of the passing of this dog. And a lot of it was just like, what is this for me? And I had called a girlfriend of mine the next morning. I'm like, so Ryder's coming over to have a conversation. And Pam is in my house right now. That's my mother. My Pam is here. And my mom I learned some like harshness from my mom. I'm like, Pam's here. Pam wants to destroy him. And my girlfriend.
Yeah, just to be clear, everybody, Pam is not actually in her home. It's Kristine's alter personality.
It's what we all do.
Yes.
All of us do this. When we get triggered, especially in parenting, we generally bring something from the past that we learned into this moment. We bring the home that we grew up in and we bring it into this moment. So my mom, Pam, and I, we get along great. But she had an old style parenting that was much more corrective and controlling than the way that I choose to parent, right? So I was like, hey, my mother, has embodied my being, is taking over. So that old corrective way, controlling way that I was brought up was in my house. And my girlfriend's like, do you want to ask her to leave? I'm like, no, I don't. She's like, ooh, you don't? I'm like, no. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because I sort of want to dig into him. And she's like, well, then you should probably look at what that is. I'm like, ah. True.
Why?
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kim, there was a piece of me that was like, I don't want to be a great, wonderful, present parent right now. I just really don't. I don't want to do this right. I don't. I just want to take him out. And it's how I felt.
Yeah.
But
all been there.
Having that community, having each other be like, hey, girl, because you weren't around. I'm like, hey, well, you were, but you're coming back home. And I'm like, why am I wanting to hold on to right now a behavior that I don't want to feel? Why is a part of me really being like, screw that? I want to inflict pain. Like, what is that? And having each other to hold the space of like, let me ask you, what is that? And it was really masking for me some sadness. So my son comes home and we're talking. He's 16, right? And again, divorced family. And we're unpacking things and we're talking and, you know, he handled the conversation better than I did, by the way. And he's like, Mom, what is that? And because he and I, one of the things with my kids is we communicate, we talk. And he's like, hey, Mom, like that tone, I just don't understand it. I'm like, and he's right. So for any parent out there, it's like, I'm the parent. You don't tell me about my tone. You do you, if that's how you want to be. But in my home, it's if you hear a tone from me that doesn't feel like it belongs in this conversation, you're more than welcome to bring it to my awareness. And that's how we operate. And I'll tell you what was able to come out of that conversation. I'm like, I feel like there's something more here. I don't know what it is, but I just really get the sense that there's something else really going on here with you. And he goes, I'm becoming aware through this conversation, and I was not aware of this prior to this conversation, Mom, that I think there is something else going on here for me. I'm like, okay. He goes, give me some time. Let me think about it and we'll talk about it later. I'm like, oh, hell no. And I'm like, you can't do that to me. No. Because I will sit here, I will create every story scenario of the world falling apart and life ending as we know it. I'm like, that's my personality. I'm like, give me something. I hear you and give me something. It goes, you said something in this conversation. He said, you said to me, if I'm wanting to spend more time with my dad, it's okay. I just need to put words to it. And he goes, think I'm needing more time with my dad.
Hmm.
I just don't want to hurt your feelings.
Oh.
I was like, I get that. I totally get that. And he was leaving the next day for camp, and I'm like, when you get back, we're going to talk this through, you know? And I sat with it, and it goes back to a lot of times a disconnection comes from distortions. So disconnection that we feel with each other oftentimes comes from a distortion. A distortion is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And these lies and distortions oftentimes come from a fear of disappointing somebody else or the fear of disappointing ourselves.
Mm.
And the more we stay in conversation and connection with each other, these layers and distortions that we all do. I was triggered. I wanted to hold on to my triggers, all of this stuff. But the more we can stay in connection, these distortions, these lies get to start opening up, and we find a truth that's underneath it. That's the gift of what I want this book to give to people. Yes. The reality is this: if you don't hold on to an idea that your 16-year-old is a jerk because somebody told you along the way 16-year-old boys are jerks, but instead you go, I want to have a relationship and connection with you,
Mm-hmm.
then you get what I just got from my kid. And we get to both discover. He discovered, I want something that I don't know how to put words to because I don't want to disappoint you. I discovered, wow, you know what? I'm feeling really raw and vulnerable right now, more than I realized. And that is getting in the way of our relationship. That, to me, is love in action. Love and connection, the essence of what is available in families. And also, my son is learning how to speak in a way that a lot of 16-year-old kids don't get the opportunity to learn how to speak.
Yeah. Absolutely. With adults, you know, with their parents. I never had the opportunity to speak like that to my parents. Nope. And what wonders that would have done for all my other relationships. Down the road.
And our parents didn't know.
No, of course they didn't. No.
They were told not to have that kind of conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just want to
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I think our parents were told that kind of conversation is going to raise a weak and dependent child into an adult that won't be able to be successful in the world. I think they were doing the best that they could with what they believed to be true. Like, this is how I love it and create a successful, independent child, is be corrective, be the authoritative person, be in charge, be disconnected. That's what they were told to do.
Yeah. They didn't know any better. Yeah. Yeah. And some other things that that I know the book touches on that we want other parents to know is that, like, repair matters more than perfection, right? So you went into this thing with your son and you had this explosive moment with him, and that was not okay. But then when he came back, that's the repair moment right there, where you chose to set Pam aside and meet your son with curiosity. Hey, what's going on for you? Hey, what's going on for me? You know? So that's in the book. And that connection that we make with our children, that's where real cooperation comes from, right? That's where all those moments that you want so badly in your parenting, they come from those simple moments of connection. Yes. You know? Yeah. And our kids, they're learning just like we learned from our parents and their nervous systems. We're just passing it along. So right now is the time to choose, who do you want to be as a parent? Who do you want to show up as? How do you want your home to feel? Do you want it to feel tense? Do you want it to feel demanding, shut down, isolated? Or do you want something more?
And what do you need in those moments to be that?
Yeah. And it's constantly changing, and it's not something that happens overnight either. It's constantly evolving. All relationships are always evolving if you allow them to, or they can get stagnant and just stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the demise of most relationships, regardless of whether they are your marriage or the one with your children or the one with your boss. Stagnation or self.
Or self.
Do you want to speak more to that, love?
No. No, it's just something like I don't want to ever put that relationship with yourself aside, because that is one of the biggest things. And you can come into stagnation with yourself, and just living in a space of just doing to do rather living to live, and I think that's a really important relationship to have. And you obviously have a relationship with yourself because you were able to ask yourself those questions in those hard moments. Like, why am I acting this way? Why do I want to hold on to that? You're asking the questions. You're developing that relationship with yourself first, and then you go over to your son and you mirror that.
And just to be super clear, too, I was trying to ask myself those questions, and a lot of times I can get the answer, but I wasn't able to, and I had to reach out to somebody and be like, help me.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
What, like, it, and by the way, friend and you, like, I think we've all spoken so much about this dynamic of parenting, the way we're choosing to parent, to be more aware, right? So she was the right person, as you are the right person for me too, as the community of women that we have here. It is not to feed that piece of us, not to feed the anxiety, feed all of the anger or stuff, because I think we can do that sometimes. With like, yeah, that
can
kid,
we?
he's a jerk, and who does he think he is? But instead of like, hold up, slow your roll, because what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, come back. So having that person to call and go to who's like, girl, I know who you are and I know what you want. Mm-hmm. You can be a little pissy right now. Be a little pissy with me. Bring it. Come on. Let it out. And then ask that part of you to step outside the front door.
Yeah. That community piece is everything. We need people to hold the mirrors for us. We need those friendships and those partnerships in our everyday life to be able to reflect back what sometimes we can't see. Yeah.
And being in relationship with each other about what am I looking for? Like the agreement with each other, like help me hold this space of like how I want to be in my home. Don't feed my shit.
Yeah.
Unless I call you to ask you to.
Yeah. Because sometimes you gotta, but
sometimes it's sort of fun to feed it.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the hard moments, when it comes to these pivotal moments, hold me in a high regard.
Yeah.
Don't meet me in the old way of bullshitting each other. Hold me in a high regard. Hold my family to a high regard.
Yeah. I know in my earlier days in parenting, I mean the friends that I had, it was a lot of that where we were just like go in circles about the down stuff and how our kids are rotten and how I just need, a drink every night, or let's get away from our kids. And there was just that language that was happening on a daily basis, and I was saying it too, and I needed to change that language. And so some of those people I just don't hang out with anymore because they can't change the language. Some of those people I do still hang out with, and we do hold each other to a higher regard because that's what I asked for.
And I will tell you, I'll never forget working with the family, and I was working with the son. I want to say he was like 8, and he said to me, well, I know my mom doesn't like me. And I said, well, how do you know your mother doesn't like you? And he says, cool, well, she tells me all the time that she just needs a break and she needs to go and leave the house and have a glass of wine with her friends because I'm just so much.
Hmm.
And
Oof.
he was like the constant conversation, the constant reminder to our kids, I need a break from you.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve a break.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve to go have a glass of wine with my friends to get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa. I know that we're not saying it to be harmful to our children.
No. It's never
No.
about no, that's not the intention.
No.
Nope.
But that unconscious communication.
Absolutely. So, Kristine, before we get off of this call, because you shared this story, which is brilliant, how would you reframe that? Like, okay, yeah, I do want to go out and I do want to have a break and I do want to have a drink with my friends. So, what can we say that's different than I need a break from you or I need to get away from this? Tell us your magic.
So much of what we talk about too is tone and intention. If your intention actually, look at, I'm getting prepared, I'm getting ready. If your intention really is like, I need a break and get away from this kid, you better go do your work and find out what's going on. Because that tone and that anger and the resentment that you're carrying inside, I can guarantee you started long before you had a child and long before this day. We better find out what that is. Because this tone and what you're carrying, this resentment is setting the foundation of your entire home. And I can guarantee you this, it's not just happening with your children, it's happening with your spouse, and it's happening with the people that you work with, and it's happening with your extended family. That shit's yours. There is nothing wrong with being like, hey babe, had such a great day with you today. I'm going to go out with a couple of girls tonight. I'm going to go for a couple hours. And when I return, we will do this, this, and that. Hey babe, I had a really hard day today. It was hard. Whew. A couple of girlfriends call. They want to get together. And you want to know something that I think is super important in my life? Friendships, relationships, and play. I need to go play. And then I'll see you later. I'm hoping that's the intention that we want, is to go play, to go release with our friends, but also play with our friends. Because if our intention is to always go out and bitch and moan and complain, it is what you are creating with inside your body, your nervous system, and it is going to explode everywhere in your life. So choose. How do you want to feel? What do you want to create? Who do you want to be?
Beautiful. Well, I mean, you've poured years and years and years into this book, right? And we've poured years into making sure that we got to this moment, right? Every moment before this moment led to this moment.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's coming, and I'm just so excited. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of everything that we have done and that we're going to continue to do. And I just really hope that people follow along and that they're curious enough to ask themselves the questions of how to get out of the stagnation in our relationships.
And hopefully curious enough, and I hate the word courageous because it makes us sound like I'm not courageous enough, and that's not true. It goes back to curious to do it differently. To pause long enough to inquire within, does this work? Does this not work? What am I doing that's not offering the love that I want in my heart and my family? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to strengthen?
Yep.
Makes me again think of, we hear that repetition out there in the world is, you need the courage, you need the courage. And I'm like, that's what came up in my mind, like the courageousness. Well, that's what everybody says. So hold on, let me rephrase that. Because so much of what we talk about is changing patterns, changing automatic comments. Hold on, no. I want to take courage out of it. We're all freaking
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Bring the curiosity back. And we'll share more as we get closer to a launch date. We're just, you know, drafting away and then drafting some more and having fun. Stop drafting, Chris. Just send it over. That is going to be a fun conversation. I love talking about us. All right. See ya. Bye.